Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. I'm a Fefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. I do a combination of political videos and spiritual growth videos. So I will be doing something housekeeping note. I will be putting up a video, a pick a card, you all like that, on the full moon in Capricorn we have coming up on the 21st. Today is the 16th. It is the day after the Republicans have at their convention. Trump has announced JD Vance as his vice presidential pick. Spirit told us that my most recent video, we looked at who was most likely. It was looking like a dead heat between Rubio and JD Vance. Spirit said JD Vance. More than likely because Marco Rubio, the whole constitutionality issue with him living in Florida. So that seems to be a lot of what swayed the ultimate decision. But I also think, in Spirit, we're going to go to Spirit on this, I want to take a really good look at JD Vance today, you all. We know that he has done a complete 180 regarding Trump. Back in the day, he was a never Trumper. You all have heard these stories. So much has been coming out in the last 24 hours about JD Vance. But, he said some, compared Trump to Hitler, called him, the culture's heroine, even being addicted to how he was. So he was really an interesting choice. However, at the end of the day, he is Trump's mini-me. And I got a distinct hit. I'm going to look at Trump today as well in the wake of the shooting. Still lots of questions around that. People have different beliefs around whether this was still some sort of scheme, or if in fact, this shooting was something that, karmically or otherwise just happened. Astrologically, so much came out about the Uranus in Mars and Taurus. So much came out about that in the aftermath of the shooting, that cosmically, astrologically, the way the planets were lining up, that the tension and the energy was just ripe for something like that, something shocking like that to happen. But last night at the opening of the convention, of course, Trump did not speak. He'll speak on Thursday night. There were shot images of him on social media kind of dozing off, similar to the way he did at his trial in front of Judge Merchan in New York. So I'm getting the impression, Spirit, I want to look at this. Is Donald Trump having a sort of a adrenaline after effect, kind of a downward thing? It's not remorse. Notice that he is not, I haven't heard it, correct me if I'm wrong, and I know you all will, you leave me comments. If he has come out and really expressed any sympathy, remorse, made calls to the families of the one gentleman who was killed and another two who were very seriously wounded. Like, what's he done in relation to that? I would be really interested to hear. We've got the Ten of Cups. Yes. I think that I'm getting an energy. Spirit, is Trump starting to prepare himself to exit, to leave the stage? And whether that's in real life or... You saw me just pull it. Can we get any more of a confirmation than that with the world? Completion? Okay? Thank you, Spirit. Because what I'm feeling, you all, is this, especially in this choice of JD Vance, what Donald Trump wanted most, it was never, even in 2016, it really was never about leading the country. He's not a president. He's not presidential material. But it was, especially in this instance, it was about him remaining free. It was about him grabbing hold of power and moving things around and building a movement around him so that he could be, this whole idolatry. Talk about idolatry, my Christian friends, like now, especially in the wake of this shooting, he's right up there with Jesus' second coming. But this was about his survival. Really, it was about him maintaining freedom, his survival, and I think his pick, the reason that he went with JD Vance in particular, is because JD Vance is becoming a younger version, a younger, more intelligent, more savvy, more politically savvy version of Donald Trump. He's basically going to be MAGA 2.0. And he's being positioned to take over the mantle. That's what, and I feel like we've got confirmation with that with the World card. The whole, is this going to change Donald Trump? Is he going to have any kind of a wake up call to, to how he's espoused violence to the point where it came back to haunt him? Seven of Cups. He has had private thoughts about why me? Why did this happen to me? Why did somebody in the midst of an adoring crowd in a very conservative area of the country, Butler, Pennsylvania, why did this happen to me? He's having some little victim stuff going on there with the Seven of Cups. He is very emotional about it, but he's trying to hide that emotion. But we did not see the clips that I saw from him at last night at the opening of the convention in Milwaukee. This was not the firebrand. This was someone who, still is all about the fight, and he is still, tiger don't change its stripes, right? But there's something that I think his mortality, is that what I'm feeling, Spirit? Was it Trump's mortality that's really become front and center with him? The Six of Pentacles. I need another card with that. I'm taking that a couple of different ways. His mortality, is it more? The Three of, this is actually stands for the Empress. It's interesting. And it says life even at the bottom there. See, it's him examining his life. In connection with the Six of Pentacles, you all, he's looking at realizing he only has so much time left. And yes, to the extent that something so out of the blue could happen, if we're in line with the fact that this was not, not planned, or he was totally taken off guard by this. This was not some machination in that regard. He is really having to evaluate how much time he has left and what he wants to do with that time, provided that he has the freedom to continue to move about the cabin without being persecuted or having these other cases prosecuted. I will look more into that a little bit later. We know what Aileen Cannon did, but I think Merrick Garland and Jack Smith are going to circle the wagons back around to that. In fact, I hadn't planned to look at it, but let me take a peek really quick. Will Merrick Garland and Jack Smith regroup and bring this case, either go ahead and take it to the 11th Circuit to remove Cannon, or file it in a different way, file it in D.C. or some other way? Are they, Merrick Garland and Jack Smith, will they proceed? Will they continue? Will they find a way to proceed with these charges? I have the Queen of Cups. That's Cannon, taking care of him. With the Ten of Cups, they're going to take a moment. I think they saw this coming, or certainly the potential for this to come, and they're going to Merrick Garland and Jack Smith. They're going to take some time, because for them to again, circle the wagons and go back at this, whether it is in fact to have her removed through the 11th Circuit and then keep the case in Florida, or move the case to D.C., whatever their options are legally and what they can do, it's going to take them a minute to figure out not only what we can do, but based on what's happened here, what's our best path to success. So going now back to Donald Trump, he is realizing that his life is never going to be, that's the mortality issue. His life will never be at peace. He recognizes that from now until he checks out, he will be in some form of a battle, one way or another. He feels like he has managed to avoid and dodge the worst, which would be his imprisonment. I think he feels like he's gotten past that. But having gotten past that, it's the now what? And that is where JD Vance comes into play. Because JD Vance is actually giving, Spirit, please confirm, is JD Vance giving Trump life? Like he looks at JD Vance and sees a younger, different version of himself. And is he actually leaning on Vance? The Knight of Swords, yes. He's leaning into Vance to be his mouthpiece, to be a more intelligent, younger, more forceful, more cogent, and more dangerous mouthpiece for what he believes and his vision of the country, the MAGA vision. Of the Knight of Cups, He believes that he sees in Vance an opportunity to pass the torch in a way that he will not be able to pass the torch to his sons. And that's why the cups is coming in. He recognizes that Don Jr. and Eric, that's not going to happen. They will just be on his coattails from now until. But in terms of putting someone in a place who can really assume a mantle of leadership, that's what draws him or drew him to JD Vance. Now I want to go ahead and look more closely at JD Vance. I pulled his chart. One of these days I'll get technical enough to know how to put something up on the screen for you all. But you can look it up. Just Google JD Vance natal chart and you will get some hits. Without his exact time of birth, you're going to get some estimations, especially around his rising sign. That's really crucial in a chart to know your time of birth for your rising sign. But the other stuff is there's a lot of information out there. He's got a birthday. He'll be turning 40 on August 2nd. His son is in Leo. He's a Leo sun, a Libra moon. And we don't know his rising because we don't know the time. But what I found really interesting as well is his Mars is in Scorpio and his Saturn is in Scorpio. For those of us who are not, really deep into astrology, the way that I read that, you all, is his Mars in Scorpio. Mars, aggression, how you fight, how you stand up for your things, your beliefs, your ideals, how you will go to war if necessary. In Scorpio, deadly. For entertainment purposes only. I don't mean it, let's not go too far with that. But what I mean is with force, with strike. Think about Scorpio, the scorpion, the venom. So he will fight dirty. He will fight hard. We've heard about his hard luck story, that his book, his memoir, he published back around, 2016, something like that, 2017, Hillbilly Elegy. So he came from, basically sounds like that he was raised by his grandparents. Mother had addiction issues. Somehow or another, he went into the armed forces. And I think he's a former Marine, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me on that if I'm wrong, somebody. But I do know he served in the armed forces out of high school, managed to work his way up, graduate of Yale University Law School. That's where he met his wife. So he is one of those up by the bootstraps kind of thing. Fits perfectly with the MAGA situation. But also, he will appeal in a way that Tim Scott, Marco Rubio, others, Burgum, would not have to this notion. Remember, a lot of what fuels the MAGA movement are the people who have felt like they're being replaced, are largely rural, perhaps less educated, farmers, blue-collar workers, those who feel left out of the American equation, those who feel very much intimidated by and the whole replacement theory as it relates to immigration, those kinds of things. So he's going to appeal to that Wisconsin, those states that are up for grabs, or those swing states. He's going to appeal to those people around the whole story, the narrative of, I understand what it feels like to live in poverty, or to be without, or to feel like you're left out, blah, blah, blah. He's going to do that. But with that Mars in Scorpio, he's going to do it in a way, and Saturn in Scorpio. So there's a part of him, you all, that feels deeply restricted and determined. This is not somebody who will cower. This is not somebody who will, when he has a conviction with those kinds of fixed signs. Leo, his sun sign, is a fixed sign. Scorpio is a fixed sign, meaning it can dig in and not move and not budge once it is convinced of something. That sun in Leo, he wants to shine. He wants to take front and center stage. Moon in Libra, he wants to be liked. He wants to foster. He probably has, let's look at the cards. Spirit, how does JD Vance genuinely look upon Donald Trump at this point in time? What is his true feeling toward and regard for that moon in Libra? What does he truly feel? JD Vance, what does he truly feel about Donald Trump at this time? How does he truly see him? We have the 5 of Pentacles. Interesting. he almost feels a little protective of him, and he feels like he's diminished. JD Vance feels like Donald Trump is diminished or being diminished, and he feels like that in turn empowers him to be that next heir apparent, that person who can step up, bolster Trump's chances at this time. He sees himself as being the most advantageous part of Trump's situation right now. And the Page of Cups. He feels a certain, he did not, if I understood him from what I read, his father abandoned him as a child. That's one reason why. And his mother was a substance abuser. So that's how he wound up being raised mostly by his grandparents. So here we have Donald Trump coming in, not so much a father figure, but he admires Trump's persona, especially the persona of old. You know, the apprentice version of Trump. He admires that. And we have the sun. Ruler of Leo, by the way, his sun sign. And he sees, he admires Trump's success story, or what he sees as the success story. But he also recognizes that he's coming in on the tail end of that. Again, he's coming in as Trump is being diminished. So there is an affection for him, but it is an affection that has grown out of convenience. It is, I see certain parts of you that I want reflected in my own life, and you're the path to get me there. So it's yeah, it's not true love, but it's convenience. All right. Now, finally, I want to take a look at JD Vance himself over mind, body, and spirit, and how he is going to impact the campaign. Certainly, the talk of softening their stance, the MAGA stance, softening the way things are being said, that's already been proven untrue in some of the remarks from spokespeople at the convention. You know, there are already buzzwords thrown about, you know, danger this and horrors about that, and we already know that was all a ruse. You know, that lasted about 30 minutes after the shooting, right? And then it was back to business as usual. But JD Vance, spirit, mind, body, and spirit. Please show me JD Vance, mind, body, and spirit. I will show these to you. I wanted to pull 3 cards in all 3 sections. So in the mind, spirit is so good. Look what I pulled, and it says mind down there at the bottom. So we have the Ace of Swords, and it says the key. I'll show you the message on there. Bravery makes me unstoppable. 0, the Fool, potential, new journeys. Wow. Thank you, Spirit, being so clear on this. So, and then we have the Page of Cups again that came a moment ago. He's on cloud 9. He sees this truly as the beginning of his life path, his domination in the party. Being so young, again, he's about to turn 40 on August 2nd. So he's got, you know, the world in front of him in terms of his political career. I think he was just sworn into office, in 2022? Yeah, so he's still a freshman, a freshman in Congress. Ace of Swords with the Fool. He is having a moment. And in his mind, bravery makes me unstoppable. You know, he understands that he's got to be Trump's wingman, so to speak, at this time. But mentally, he's already leaping ahead. He's already thinking 2028. He's already thinking the impact that he is going to have, putting his imprint on the MAGA movement, or on what may be left of the Republican Party, right? He's already there in his mind. This is all about him. This is all about him being given an opportunity. And with that Fool, he's being given an opportunity to grow in a way that in his mind is revolutionary. He's really geeked up and ready to do that. Now, body, his physical existence right now. Oh, there are 4 cards that came. 2 must have stuck together. I have the King of Pentacles. This is, and the 9 of Pentacles. Okay. He sees, he's going to do a lot of fundraising. Him being named as Trump's VP pick is going to open up some more wallets in the donor base. He recognizes that, and he will be going after that. We have the Six of Swords. I'm building my life one step at a time. Six of Swords is a path forward, just like you see that bridge. He sees the path forward to building wealth within the party. I heard someone, I can't remember who it was, I flashed on the convention yesterday, and someone in one of the delegates in their speech said, this is about making America wealthy again. So the whole focus on wealth. And thank you, Spirit. Vance's background is in venture capitalism. So he's a money guy. He's all about the money. And I got the Hermit. He sees himself on a mission. This is his physical existence. He sees himself on a mission, and he is also going to be dedicated a lot to studying every facet of how he can twist his or tweak his messaging long term. But again, it won't be about the party this per se. This is going to have a lot to do with what his plans are for 2028. He's already in the next phase mode, and he recognizes that there's a lot of work that he has to do, a lot of analysis that he has to do. Hermit is ruled by Virgo. JD Vance is extremely, this is giving me, he's extremely analytical. He's extremely detailed. In that regard, he is very unlike Donald Trump, and he will provide a certain, a different sort of energy that may even be more respected among some of these deep pockets who in some ways have merely tolerated Trump for many reasons we all know, right? Him being the face of the movement. But this guy, they're going to see this guy, JD Vance, as bringing more substance to their beliefs, to how their beliefs can be articulated and furthered. Don't let Project 2025 out of our sights for one moment, because that's where it's headed. All right. And finally, Spirit. We have him as the Emperor. Oh, he thinks he's all of that and then some. That new beginning, that fool that we got for him. He is going to take this whole situation and run with it. He believes he is the man with the Ace of Cups. And it even says on the, I am divine love in expression. He's going to try and whereas Donald Trump has often, given that message of, I am one of you. I am doing this all for you. I'm being persecuted for you. Now I've taken a bullet for you. I do all of these things for you. But it's rhetoric, right? This guy believes it. JD Vance believes it. He believes that he is going to communicate an expression that Emperor, he's going to communicate an energy and an expression of, I'm here for you. Let's unify. Let's take care of one another. Let's build this country the way that we see it and envision it. But he's going to do it in a more convincing fashion than Donald Trump. Whereas Donald Trump comes off as very self-serving with it, JD Vance is going to come across as more authentic with it. That's kind of dangerous, isn't it? And the Nine of Cups comes for him as well in Spirit. All things are working together for the good in my life is what that says there. I think this is his own leanings, his own religious leanings. There is a part of him that is believing the hype, that just as many in the MAGA movement believe that Trump is divinely appointed at this period in our time in history to lead the movement, lead the party. JD Vance sees himself as that again, the heir apparent, the person who will take that mantle and run with it. And we have the Three of Swords. Spiritually, he Three of Swords is a card of very often of grief, sadness, healing. He's going to play on people's emotions. He's going to play on people's sentiments. The whole, what has gone wrong in America and why your life can be better, and using that in the context of faith and God and country. That's going to be his calling card for some time to come. All right, you all. So let's buckle up and let's see what happens next. We've got Joe Biden still fighting the good fight, getting out there, having his voice heard. We've got, many of his surrogates, but I also am getting the impression that they're still in regroup mode, especially now in light of JD Vance. Now they're in regroup mode. Now they've got the full picture of who it is that they're facing off against. And so whatever adjustments need to be made, that's what they're going to do next. So I'm going to turn the focus more back on Biden probably for my next political video. All right, you all, stay safe out there. Chin up, shoulders squared, breathe deep, okay? We're going to get through this, and we all just have to continue to support one another, be tolerant, be kind to one another, and I'll talk to you really, really soon.